Hey everybody, Dr. Greg here. Hey, quick aside, just before we get started with the show, as you can hear right now, my mic sounds great. Apparently I was having some audio driver issues when we recorded episode 6 of Modcast, so it's going to sound not so great. And I apologize, it is corrected now, obviously, so for future episodes it won't sound like I'm blowing your ears out. Alright, thanks, and enjoy episode 6 of Modcast. Welcome, everyone, to episode 6 of Modcast VR, the official podcast of the Flat VR modding community. I'm Dr. Greg
Official.
VR. What'd you say?
I said official. The
Official. What did I say?
Official.
Did I say
You
official?
said official.
Okay.
I just reinforced it.
Why are you correcting me when I say the right thing, Fran?
I'm not correcting, I'm just reinforcing.
This is my co-host V-Ran, and we're really excited today. We have with us Dr. Drbibop, the mastermind behind the Risk of Rain 2 VR mod and the newly released Raft VR mod. Well, it's in early access right now, but you can get it on his Patreon, and we'll put a link in the description for that. Welcome, Dr. Drbibop.
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome.
Oh.
Yeah, we're really excited. I can't believe we're on the 6th. We just kind of mentioned that on our 6th episode already. That's so crazy. This was a little long. I think it was 3 weeks. Not a month though, so that's good.
Not yet, yeah. We're good on timing. But I think it's okay to not have a specific every week.
I do too,
weeks.
especially in this, because we never know what's coming out when, and if you don't really have a mod to talk about, then kind of missing the point, right? So
Yeah.
all right. So like we usually do, we're going to start off with some VR modding news. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll get some input from Dr. Drbibop and from Vran and myself on that, and then we'll jump in and we'll talk to Dr. Drbibop about his mods, and we're excited for that too. So we're going to start out. This one is more of a personal thing, but Dying Light, I know I had mentioned in a past video that it wasn't working on the Rift S, and I was really sad about that because I was streaming it. I had several hours in, and all of a sudden it stopped working after an Oculus software update, and it really bummed. Well, for whatever reason, I think somebody had mentioned it in one of my streams. I thought I would try it on the Quest 2 with Airlink. Lo and behold, it does work. It works great with Quest 2 and Airlink. So you can play Dying Light in VR, and I really, really, really recommend it. There's just a few things, and I want to talk to you a bit about this, Dr. Drbibop, but I'm making it a mission. I want to find a modder that could fix some things with the mode in that game, because the right thumbstick isn't decoupled from up and down movement, so it's not just like usual where you turn right and left and that's all the right thumbstick does. It moves the camera up, so you'll be finding yourself and you're trying to look down and your head's all in a weird position, or something that scares you and you barely tap up and now your camera's up here and you're looking at them down through your eyes trying to figure out how to kill people, and it could be really disorienting. So it would be great if somebody could fix that. Is that something that's hard to do?
Well, I wouldn't know. I don't really know the engine it's using.
Okay.
Because I use Unity.
Unity?
Pretty much every day, so that's what I'm good at. But other engines I haven't really dabbled in. So if someone knows the engine very well and they can work with that, I know I had that same problem on Risk of Rain 2, so I did have to fix that camera problem.
Okay. All right. Another thing I would love to have done to fix is, like when you're playing Cyberpunk in VR with Luke Ross mods and other Luke Ross mods, when you bring up the UI or the menus, the menu is big and it's just sitting right in front of you and it's just floating. And your head isn't locked to it, so you can look all around the menu and look at stuff and read really easy. But with Dying Light, it's fixed to your head. So if you try to look around, you just move the menu with you. So, but you end up having to do is like strain your eyeballs up to the side to read stuff. And after a few hours of play, it does really start to hurt your eyes.
Yeah.
So is that another?
But it's also good because there's eye exercises that you need to do. So you're doing it while you're playing.
Yeah, you're getting those oblique muscles working and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Win-win situation.
So again, that's probably like something you'd have to know the engine to know if that's an easy thing to fix, or
Yeah, the UI is probably one of the most challenging part of porting a game to VR. Like
Okay.
from experience, I can say that the UI, because on PC they always just put an overlay on the screen
Mm-hmm.
and that's that. But now you have to move that canvas is what it's called in Unity at least. You have to move it to the world, and you have to make sure that everything is positioned correctly, everything can be interacted with. No, like you gotta implement a pointer or maybe just a gaze pointer that works too. But yeah, it's one of the hardest parts with VR mods.
Yeah. Yeah, with a game like this, I don't think you'd have to use the pointer because there's no motion controls. And as far as this game goes, I feel the same way about Cyberpunk would be really cool with motion controls. Don't get me wrong, but I love just sitting and playing it with a gamepad for hours on end.
Yeah.
And I think Dying Light is the same type of game. And with all of that, all of the parkour and everything that you do and all the animations, I would think motion controls would be a nightmare to try and incorporate into that game specifically.
Yeah.
So I mean, like with menus, you could just use the thumbsticks to move your stuff around just like you do in Cyberpunk, so but anyway, that's something I want to see. And the last thing I'd like to see done is somebody's take the HUD and shrink it down, bring it in narrower, because the map once again is way out of your field of view. I mean, you have to really strain to see what's going on with the map, and like the health is clear up here and you can't really see that very well. And once again, it's locked to your head, so you can't just move your head up and look at it. So anyway.
For me, Dying Light, whenever I played Dying Light, when I played it with the Rift S, I would position the headset in a specific way and really tight to my head so that the map would be in a way that even if I strain my eyes, I can really see it.
Mm-hmm.
With the Quest 2, it's a little bit easier because the field of view is
a little
wider,
bigger field of view. Yeah.
But you still need to, at some point I would kind of lower the headset while I'm playing. Oh, okay, I see where it is.
I know, I have to do that too. I have to grab it sometimes and pull it over.
Yeah. It's a problem.
So I mean, it's not, Dying Light in VR is not perfect because it was an abandoned mode, which is really sad that but I seriously, since the code is already there and it works, I can't believe somebody hasn't jumped on that to fix it. It blows me away. So I'm wondering if there's some reason that's happened. But anyway, that's my wish list. Once again, works beautifully on AirLink. AirLink blows me away.
Nice, eh?
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one thing, the Quest 2 is just amazing to me. It's the fact that I could play PC VR wirelessly, and I would probably do it a lot more, except for it's such a pain in the ass to stream with. Facebook, Meta,
Quest 2.
Whatever. Fix that shit, man. It's like, how hard is that? They got billions of dollars. They can't make a goddamn headset you can stream decent from. All right. Obviously we've already talked about, I don't know if we talked about a release date on the last show. I don't know if we knew yet.
No, it
September.
It was September.
Yeah,
but
in September. We didn't know the date. 15th, is that what it is? Do you guys?
16th.
16th. It's in the middle of September, so it's coming really close. You could play it early if you get lucky enough, though. They're having a key giveaway, I think, a week before release. All you got to do is wishlist it on Steam, so you might get lucky and win. And it's worth it. It's worth it to give it a shot. I can't rave about that mod enough. It feels like Valve made that game. I mean, in VR, it's so good. Have you played with that, Dr. Bebop? Have you played the Half-Life 2 mod yet?
I haven't, but I would love to try it. I've never played Half-Life 1 or 2. I would love to try them both in VR. That would be awesome. I played Alex.
Jealous.
I know. I'm
jealous.
Totally jealous. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So start out with Half-Life 1 on the Quest. Play that.
Yeah.
Because that's with Dr. Beef's mod. That's amazing. And then, definitely. Dude, I am so jealous that you haven't played that game.
Yeah.
My first experience.
Crazy. Someone tweeted, what game would you want to forget that you started?
Yeah.
And what game and what VR mod would you play that you would be like, yeah. And for me, I said Alien Isolation, but yeah, Half-Life 2, Half-Life 1, Black Mesa. you have to. Wow, yeah. First impression. Oh, I'm jealous. And in VR.
Yeah. See, my first time playing Half-Life 2 was in VR too, and it was so great. And that's for me with that question. Was that Flat to VR that on Twitter that put that question out? I can't remember. I think it might have been
posted that.
But
it might have been it could be Elliot.
For me my very number one that I wish I could wipe my memory of and experience first in VR was Resident Evil 2 VR, or the remake in VR. Because I had played I'd played it kind of in VR. I played it with the PSVR 2 in cinema mode. So massive screen. It was still great, but nothing like Prey Dog's mods. Oh my god, it was so good.
No, it's a different. It's kind of like Drbibop's mods, because it's so crisp because you're in engine. Mm-hmm. It's not. You don't inject like Vortex or
absolutely.
You're in engine.
Yeah, It's just absolutely. We'll talk more about that later. But those mods are. They're amazing. Okay.
Games.
All right. Okay. Here's a exciting one. This is kind of it's great for the Flat to VR, and it's kind of a little self plug too. But Flat to VR, and since we're the official podcast, we've teamed up with Road to VR publication. So that's really cool. There's an article. We'll link to it. And if you go through it and you see all of the great stuff in there, if you squint really hard and use a magnifying glass, you'll see the podcast mentioned in the fine print at the end.
And print. Nice.
I wrote Elliot after he posted that. I got through it. It's like, oh man, I thought he said that we were going to be in this, and so I wrote, like, so we're not included. He's like, oh no, it's there. And he circled it, and put arrows to it. I was like, oh, I felt like Mike Wazowski in was it Monsters Inc. with the commercial, and it's like complaint is, I'm in a commercial.
Yes, that's us. You see that blue dot over there?
Yeah.
The pixel? That's you guys.
That's us. Okay, so anyway, they'll have a monthly article about mods and everything, and so that's really cool. It's cool to get that into a big, the big VR publication, just, so people are made more aware of mods and what they can do for VR in general. Now, this is more like speculation or rumor, but apparently there have been a lot of mentions of Oculus in Fortnite. Personally, I've never played Fortnite, but I love Population 1, and I know a lot of Population 1 people get mad when the squeakers come in and they're like, well, this is just Fortnite. And they're like, no, it's not Fortnite. I don't know, because I've never played Fortnite. But I look at that and I think about the biggest. Do you play Pop 1 at all, Dr. Bebop?
I haven't tried it, no.
Oh my gosh. You need to try it. It's I know Vran doesn't like that kind of game and everything. I've never played a battle royale game before Population 1, and I absolutely love it, except it frustrates me so much because like my squad mates and I, my brother is way behind us, but Cameron and I, Hellquake and I, we are both like level 58. I'm that close to level 59. So, and 60 used to be so we're up high enough in the levels where I think that's one of the things that gets us placed with all of these like god tier level wizards that we get wiped out so many times. I'm like, why are we in the same lobbies with these people? They've got to be able to look at our stats and see that we do not belong in lobbies with people like this. But it's just a player base issue. They just don't have a big enough player base. So I see something like Fortnite, and I'm like, there's a massive player base. So maybe that would be something that would be a little more fair, where you could get more balanced lobbies, Yeah. Because there's one time, it was over Christmas, I had a Steam account with Pop 1 on it, but I'd never played with it. So I was level 1. I was like, this might be interesting. So I jumped in on my Steam account, and it kept placing me with all the brand new players that just got their headsets. And now I understand why these guys love having, people of our caliber play in their lobbies, because it's a blast just wiping out entire lobbies by yourself.
Yeah.
But it's not so fun when you're on the receiving end.
Yeah.
Have you done any battle royale games?
I've done a lot. I mean, I've played PUBG, I've played Apex,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't really get into Fortnite because I wasn't really into the building part.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like a whole new skill you gotta learn, like
Yeah.
with the shooting and the positioning and the communication. Now you gotta also learn building. It's a bit too hard, I'd say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is building in Pop 1 too, but it's not like Fortnite building. It's just throwing up walls one panel at a time, and you know, there are some guys that are, once again, they come rushing in on you and they just start building like crazy, and you have no idea where they are, and next thing you know, they're behind you and knock you out with a sword or something.
Yeah.
That gets really frustrating too. But I've never been that great with the building part of it. All right. This one is great. I'm really excited for this. I've never played this game before. I think I've kind of heard for it. It's from Baggy G or Grant
Yeah.
Badwell, or Baggy G is I think his kind of his tag name or whatever. But Bendy and the Ink Machine mod is coming out, and he's actually from Team Beef, which, you know, it's kind of cool. I asked him a little bit about that, and that game looks fantastic. Have you ever played that one, Fran, or no?
I did. I played the demo. I created a Vortex profile for it. It had like full head. You know, it was real. Forgot what it was called in Vortex. That you can real VR. So
Direct
you had
VR?
full head tracking. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it looked pretty good. I played the demo through. It's very interesting, very nicely. The graphics are nice. It's kind of cartoony.
Yeah, it looks like Disney, kind of like got the
Disney,
Mickey Mouse hands. And
play as an animator, and you go to work on a Saturday. That's the demo. I'm pretty sure it's the same. And something happened. You see ink dripping and some characters that died. There's Goofy there, so it's kind of interesting.
Cool.
Looks really good. It's nice. So I'm looking forward to this.
I
What about
haven't
you?
heard from it.
You don't. Oh, you kind of cut out on us there a little bit. What'd you say?
Oh, I was just saying that it sounded interesting. I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think I'd only see it. You say Goofy was in it?
Well, from what I remember, there was, because it was when we were still living in, I think it was still when we lived in Vancouver. So it was like, what, 4 years ago?
Okay.
That's when I had the demo. It was a free demo, and so I think there was a big Goofy, and even he talks like that.
Okay, gosh.
Yeah, it was like a sculpture, so it wasn't a real Goofy.
Okay.
But you're alone at the office, at the studio. You're an animator, and being an animator, it was like, oh my god, this is me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think it looks like it has full motion controls and everything, so I'm excited to try that out.
I'm not sure what you're going to do with, because I don't remember what you can. I think you can pick up stuff. It's kind of like a riddle. There's puzzles, but
okay. Yeah, it's like a horror theme, I think, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
It is.
Well, it looks pretty cool. I'm excited to try it. I love seeing all these new mods. This is our big middle finger to Take-Two. It has nothing to do with VR, but they're being Take-Two, and they went after the freaking one of the original creators of the GTA just because he had some I think development stuff on his page, so they gave him copyright strikes and all that kind of crap, and those guys could just blow me. I seriously, do you ever worry about that, Dr. Bebop, with your mods? You worry about developers coming after you?
I mean, there's always a little worry, but I try to make sure that the developers are fine with it before actually committing to the mod.
That's a smart move.
Yeah, that would reduce a lot of the risks. But yeah, when I see that happen, it always it hurts my heart.
Yeah.
It's a bit less intense than Take-Two, but also VR Chat added their anti-cheat system, which killed a lot of mods.
Killed a lot of mods. Yeah. That was they took a big hit on that too. Man, you take a look at their like Steam account and their ratings or their reviews is like overwhelmingly negative, and I don't know if that's leveled out at all or not now, but yeah, and I know a lot of people were going over to try Neos out, which I need to sit down and just bite the bullet and try Neos out. I tried it once. I went in. I remember downloading it when it very, very first came out years ago, and it was just, I jumped in. I was like, I have no freaking clue what to do in here, so I never touched it again. And then it started getting big, or people started talking about it more here just recently, and I jumped in, and I mean, it just confused me so much. I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what this user interface. I don't understand how to do this or this, and and everybody's like, well, you've got to get somebody in there that knows what to do to show you the ropes and all that. I was like, that's cool and all, but that's also a massive barrier to a huge population of people. Yeah. Have to set up a time with somebody to sit down just to show them how to use an app. There's got to be a way to make that user interface easier to understand and work. I would think. I don't know, but I mean, it looks like there's just so much you can do with that. So I'd like to try it out. Have you worked with it a lot?
No. I haven't, but which doctor is going to answer?
Yeah, which doctor's going to answer? That's right. So all these doctors. Where'd you get your degree?
I made it, Mom. I'm in a company with doctors. But why aren't you one? Because I'm not a doctor. I'm an animator.
That's all right. You probably do better than this doctor anyway. So. So have you worked with Neos at all, Dr. Bebop, or not?
I haven't, but it looks very interesting because there's so much to do. It's basically like a built-in engine that you can interact with.
Yeah. It looks to me like it looks pretty incredible, the stuff you can do in that thing. And that's kind of why I want to learn it, because there's some stuff that I'd like to do, and Van and I had once talked about a VR game or something. Looks like something where we could put stuff together in there and work with it, and at least have something there. But I mean, it just looks really, really cool. So I'd like to try it out. Just had to get over my old man. I don't understand how this thing works. It's kids in their new VR helmets and.
You need to fix your glasses when you do that.
Yeah, no kidding.
What is this button over here? Yeah, like this.
Yeah. All right. There's a new mod that replaces the 2D sprites in Doom 3 with 3D voxels characters. So that's really cool, because I imagine, I've never tried Doom, the first couple Dooms or whatever in VR, but I would imagine that would be kind of lame having the 2D sprites as characters in VR. I don't know. I mean, I guess it would work if it was. It is old school, so it's retro. So I guess if you think about it that way, I can't remember. What was that game? Compound. Does that one have 3D sprites or characters in it, or is it 2D sprites? You've played Compound, haven't you? You haven't played Compound? You haven't played Compound? Nobody's played Compound. All right. It's a retro corridor shooter, just like Doom. And VR.
A boomer shooter?
Yeah, it's fantastic game. But yeah, it's basically Doom, really. But anyway, I can't remember. It doesn't matter. We don't even worry about that. That mod comes from, I think it's Chillo, is what the modder's name is. I'm not sure. And last thing in the news, Beardo Benjo has released a video rating all the mods. I just watched through it earlier today, and it's really good. I like the way he did it. He, instead of trying to give them like numbers, he split them into categories. Like, this is a pretty cool mod, but it needs some work and might be better flat screen. And these are really good mods. And then there's like the god tier mods. So, there's like three levels. And I believe, if I remember correctly, Risk of Rain 2 was the number one, or what, not the number one mod, but the first mod mentioned in the god tier mod. So congratulations, Dr. Bebop.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Yeah.
And hopefully Raft can reach that tier 2 someday.
Yeah. Raft was in the middle, I think, wasn't it? I think it was in the middle
Yep.
at this point.
Yeah,
I think
because
the
there are
lot.
still some issues with it, but I'll work it out. I'll make it better hopefully before release.
Okay, all right, sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, I played Risk of Rain 2 a couple nights ago. It was the first time I played that game, and I would have thought it was a made for VR game. It's a fantastic mod. It works so well. So yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that too here. But anyway, that's it for the news. It wasn't a massive news section, but that's okay. Now we're gonna go ahead and get to the interview. So Dr. Drbibop, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what's your real job and where are you at in the world and all that kind of thing. Just a little bio.
All right. Hello. I am a modder. I do VR mods. Well, you already know that. But right now in my life, I am a student. I'm in university studying computer science. I got my
Okay.
college degree, and now I'm started university recently. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Okay, that's awesome. It's awesome. Where are
Nice.
you? So you're in. You said you were in Quebec.
Yep, living
Okay.
live in Quebec my whole life.
Okay. So that's French Canadian, correct?
Yep.
Okay. We had a lot of French Canadians where I went to chiropractic school. At Palmer College of Chiropractic in Davenport, Iowa, and everybody always wanted to party with the French Canadians.
Yeah, we love the party.
Yes, you
do
do.
that.
Yes, you do. Okay, so how long have you been modding?
Modding, I'd say it's been about 3 years or so. About when I really started modding for real was when the Overwatch workshop came out. I've played a lot of Overwatch,
Mm-hmm.
and when they released the workshop, it's basically like the Forge and maybe Halo or Warcraft.
Okay.
So it's like some sort of visual coding system. So just trying that out while I was in college. I was studying it. So with the experience I had, I started working with the workshop, started making new game modes that were very fun to play. And so that's when my journey started. And eventually I moved on to, actual code and modding with engines with Risk of Rain 2.
Okay. All right. So, so that was your first mod then that you were doing with this workshop thing? Okay.
Yeah,
So
that was my time.
was that in VR or was that just was that 2D?
I don't know, that was 2D. You couldn't do that much with the workshop, to be honest.
Oh.
You only had the tools that the developer let you use,
Okay. I think
Okay.
it's kind of the same way with the modding in Cyberpunk right now. It's not like a full-on open modding thing. It's like there's just certain things that you can do, and I think a lot of modders are really waiting for him to like just release
Open
it.
it.
Yeah, open it up so they can go to town. Because I mean that's one of those games. I know I talk about it all the time, but when you get the modders in there that start at that's when you're going to really start seeing that thing explode, because it's already freaking amazing. But I don't care what anybody says, I love Cyberpunk in VR. It's so good. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. So Risk of Rain, then, that was your first mod.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's cool. I'm looking at my questions here. I was like, you're already answering a couple of them. I did talk about it. Was it hard to get that mod to feel so native?
For Risk of Rain 2, I assume?
Yeah.
Well, it's always, multiple parts of the mod that need to be worked on to become native. Activating VR is the easy part. You go into the Unity files, enable VR, and voila, you got stereo, 3D, all that stuff. But now after that, it's really all the motion controls implementation, fixing everything that broke with enabling VR,
Mm-hmm.
like all the shaders, the decals, all of this. That's one of the biggest problems I had in the beginning. But once you got that figured out, then you can work on what makes VR games good, the immersion, the controls, all of this. So it is hard. It takes time, but yeah, when you get it working. That's the big satisfaction.
Oh, I bet.
Satisfaction.
Yeah.
That'd be
Loving,
so
yeah.
awesome. So was it
Like-
really? Oh, go ahead.
Risk
Ryan.
of Rain 2. The first time when I got the game, I first play it flat screen because I want to see the difference. And there's a huge difference because it's a third person game when you
Yeah,
play
of
it.
course.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. I've only played it in VR.
Yeah, because you don't know when you play it in VR. It's like, oh, that was how the game was supposed to be. It's a third person game. It's nice because the character, you see the animation, you see, everything. But then the mod is like a completely different game. It's like you said, native VR game, which is really, really amazing. And the scale, I mean, come on. When you see the robots, and they're,
Scale's
like,
great.
so big.
Yes.
I mean, you can't really compare it to playing it flat screen. As much as you see your character running around, you see the robots coming at you. It's pretty spectacular. So I don't know if you want to ask something else about the game, but
Go
how
ahead.
the hell you go around and having hands in both games, in both freaking games, when the game is not allowing you to do that because it's a third person. And I understand that you can go to third person even in the VR mod. I haven't tried that. You can.
Yeah, you can. But yeah, motion controls, Unity has some built-in functions to, track hands. So after that, it's just putting models, and then, you need to change everything that, for example, when you point at an enemy, it just takes where the camera is pointing. So now you just have to change that and make it so that's when your hand is pointing. So
Oh, I
all
see.
of this you need to change. Sometimes it can be in multiple parts. Sometimes it can be easier. Maybe it's just somewhere isolated that keeps any referenced. So once you got that figured out, it adds a lot of immersion. A lot
Yeah.
of games work with camera gaze. So just changing that with replacing code or replacing some references. That's how it works basically. But adding motion control, just having models tracked, that's pretty easy, I'd say.
Okay, that's something to test and to try.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now the character, is the character still there? Is the camera ahead of the character, above it? Like, where is the character?
Oh, okay. So yeah, in Risk of Rain 2, I just parent the camera to
Camera.
the character. Yeah. So you just move along with the character, and the character model is just completely hidden. So you only
It's
see
hidden. Okay,
your hands.
nice.
But there's a limitation with that. You cannot like move into your play space, and the character will move towards you too. So, it may depend on the game, but with Risk of Rain 2 and Raft, that's the kind of limitation I cannot really get around. But
Yeah.
it's not really that much of a big problem, to be honest. It still works, but
Yeah.
yeah, after that, the effects that spawn on the character just spawn it on the hands instead.
Yeah.
It's kind of how it works, yeah.
Okay.
It's nice. Nice.
Yeah, that
Good to
game,
know.
it's got it. There's so much mayhem. I mean, it's when I my first time playing it, I dropped down in that pod, and I didn't know what I was supposed to do. And I hear all this stuff going on outside the pod, and I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed. And then this button. And I look at my hands like this breaks it. And I walk out there, and there's like a bajillion monsters out there already. I'm like, ah!
You
It
need
is
to
really good.
constantly move. You can't stand.
You
in
can't
that
stand
game.
still. No, you cannot. Yeah, and
You
I
have to move.
noticed there were like different enemies. There was different types of movement you wanted to do while you were fighting them. I couldn't get past the big jellyfish things.
But it changes every time. Like if you
It does,
die
yeah.
and you come back.
Yeah, because it's a
different.
roguelite, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah,
I played as Hunter. Did you play as the Hunter as well with the?
I just had a couple. I just had a couple guns. I don't know what I did.
So it's the second one. The one is crouch when you select them. The red.
The commando?
No, the commando is the one on the left. The one I chose because it's the first time I played this. Usually I wouldn't buy those games, but when there's a VR mod, you buy
VR
the game.
mods, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly, really. And you can see the difference. Right now I'm doing a video about Fallout 4 VR mod, VR, and Fallout 4 flat screen, just to see the differences. And of course there's a mod for, it's called Frick, F-R-I-K, when you have hands, because when Bethesda released it, it was just rifles or guns floating in the air. So with that you have hands, and sometimes the Frick mod, you can hide the head, because sometimes you look up and you can see part of the character's head, like you explained that you hid the character. You can't with the Frick. You can look and you can see the head, so you hide the head, so you're free to go. So yeah, it's the second character. I think it's Hunter. I think it's the Hunter it's called.
Okay. Yeah.
Speaking of VRIK, that's actually what I'm using on Raft. I would love to use it on Risk of Rain 2 also, but with Risk of Rain 2, all the characters have wildly different proportions, and some aren't even humanoid.
Yeah.
So it's not really something I can do. But with Raft, it's really doable because they all have the same proportions.
Yeah. Yeah, because Raft they're more cartoony and they have different proportions. The characters.
But all the characters are the same. They're all
same
humanoid
character,
proportion. Yeah.
That would
I think
definitely make
for
things
Fallout,
easier.
It's called FRIK. For Skyrim, it's called VRIK. It's Vrick and Frick.
Vrick and Frick.
They're two,
yeah.
Vrick and Frick. They're two characters.
Pretty sure I have that.
show.
I know I have Vrick on Skyrim. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such an awesome bunch of modding on that game. It's incredible. It's sad that you got a game like from a AAA studio, and to really make it, they released their VR part, but to really make it good, you've got to mod the F out of it.
Yes. And modders are doing a great job with Skyrim and Fallout 4 and.
Yeah, I've got to do Fallout 4 again. I want to play it some more because I didn't play it very long. I felt so depressed because everything was all dead. I just walk around. I was like, everything is dead in this game.
Yeah, and there's a mod to create forests and foliage, and the true fans of the game,
they don't like that.
They don't like it.
No, they don't like that. No,
they don't like it.
But yeah,
it's a nuclear holocaust, so nothing will grow. Everything is dead.
Well, and if it does grow, it's weird. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just
thought you were sad
because everything
is dead. Yeah, I remember when that game first launched. I was so excited to try it out, and I jumped in and I put it on, and it was like somebody took Vaseline and smeared it over my eyeballs. It was so blurry, and you'd go to the Steam review page and people were just hammering this game.
Yeah.
And it took them just maybe a couple days or a day even to patch it so that it wasn't blurry. But how did they not know? How does somebody like Bethesda not? Do they have QA?
I mean, big studios like Bethesda, they have experience making games, but maybe not making VR games.
Yeah.
Studios that are especially made for VR games, they know how to make good VR games, how to make good VR features. But with Bethesda, I mean, their team, they're used to making PC games, and maybe they've never even played VR before. So that's why something like this can happen pretty often with new VR games with studios that are not very experienced with it.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of that coming up yet. Probably with like the PSVR 2 coming out, we're going to have all these companies that apparently are going to be making VR games that have never made them before. And that's where you start seeing issues. Hitman 3 comes to mind. I hope that these studios are learning that if they're going to make VR games, bring on some VR developers to help them at least make the game correctly, because nothing sucks more to have a game and people get really hyped about it. Like, people were so hyped to have Hitman 3 in VR, and then it came out and everybody just trashed on it big time. Now, it still looks to me, I need to try it on PC. I just never did because it's so expensive, but it looks to me like it's still a good time. Just a good janky fun time. You watch Beardo Benjo play. Ever watch that Krusty guy? His Hitman videos. Have you ever watched those?
No.
No.
I might have.
They're hilarious. That guy is a riot.
Funny guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he is a riot. He does some really good Skyrim VR mods or videos too.
Yes. I know who it is then.
Yeah, just a riot. I think he pretty much dedicates his whole channel to Skyrim, Fallout 4, and Hitman.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to Raft. Tell us a bit about this newest mod, Raft. What made you decide to mod this game?
It was when Risk of Rain 2 was about to release their new DLC. So I knew about it, and I knew that they were about to upgrade the engine and change a lot of code. So I knew that this was coming, so I was just gonna pause and not touch it and wait for the DLC release. So while waiting for this, I think it was 1 month away, I was just thinking, what else could I maybe start modding? So I just scrolled through my Steam library, looking through what would be good to mod, and I found Raft. And I last played this like in 2018. That was a long time ago. So I just saw Raft. I saw all the updates that there were, and I just thought, wait, that would be amazing in VR. And I just look online. I'm like, wait, there are no VR mods at all. And some were interesting to work on it, but there was just nothing done at all. So I just perfect. I'm gonna start working on that while I'm waiting for the DLC. So I worked a little bit, did enabling VR, enabling motion controls. They did some very experimental stuff, and then the DLC came out of Risk of Rain 2, and I worked on that. But after that, I just continued working on it, and now we're here today.
Okay, and you can get that mod on your Patreon right now in early access. So we'll put a link to that in the description, so everybody can grab it if they want to right now. I've played it. My experience with Raft, the mod works beautifully. Now I've never played the game. I knew nothing about it. I think I would recommend to anybody that wants to play that game to maybe watch a video of somebody playing it so you know what to do, because they give you absolutely no clues. You're just on this like 4-panel raft in the middle of the ocean with a hook, and it's there you go.
Yeah, the beginning is very rough. But maybe I could add some sort of tutorials or just something that makes it more intuitive of what you need to do. Because in flat screen, it doesn't tell you anything, but with how the game is set up in flat screen, it's a bit easier to figure out what to do. Because you have the hook, and you just hold down the click and it throws itself, but you have to figure out the throw in VR, which is a bit harder. But it is fun and immersive. Yeah,
it is. I figured it out after I started figuring out how to do it and how to grab things better, and that was really cool. But here I was pulling in all of this stuff to my raft. There's this damn shark swimming around me, and I'm like, oh, I don't like this already because I'm terrified of sharks. And so somehow, and I don't know why I'm grabbing all this stuff, but I think I'm supposed to. And then somehow or another, I lost my hook. I don't know where it went. I must have unequipped it somehow, and I struggled forever trying to figure out how to re-equip it. I'd bring up the menu and it'd be there, and I'd click on it, and I was like, okay, and then it would just drop it in a box on my boat. Like, okay, and then I pick it up, and then I still couldn't equip it, and then I ended up tossing it off of my raft after the shark. I jumped up and it's like, blah, the shark bites a panel off, and so then I'm struggling, and I'm like, oh well, here I could craft a new one with the stuff I picked up. So I craft, but I still couldn't figure out how to equip it. By the time I finally figured out to equip, I had 2 panels left of my raft. I'm dying of thirst apparently, because my character is, I could hear that he's thirsty, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do there. I mean, I wasn't pulling in any water on the stuff that I was grabbing, just plastic and wood and leaves. So, it was. And then I ended up, of course, dying. It's like, wow, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this might be something I need to work on, because if that's you have your hotbar on the bottom. You can see the list of items on your inventory. You can just scroll through it. But for immersion, I hide it and only show it when you scroll to the items. So maybe that's something I can try to fix. Maybe like the first time you play it, it'll keep showing up always, and maybe a few minutes in it will start disappearing itself. Maybe it just I need to figure something out. Maybe just to
yeah. If you want to put something like that in, there are going to be people who be upset about it. So maybe have like an option that you can click. I want the helper, the helping hand mode.
Yeah.
I want hints.
Yeah. It's always a solution.
If you're a noob, press here. That's all it is.
Yeah, that shark, Jesus, gave me a heart attack. He just all of a sudden jump, and I was like hitting it with my hook. Go away, shoo! Go away.
You figure out that that's not how it works, but
no, it didn't work. Okay, we already talked about the motion controls thing. That was going to be my question. Was it really hard to implement it in this game, in Raft?
Well, it kind of was, yeah, because I mean, yeah, there was the VR IK part, but once that's figured out, the way the items are held, the way it's flat screen, it's just animations that are queued up. But now there are no animation. You have to animate your hands yourself. So all the actions, using your shovel, throwing your hook, using the bow and arrow, which is pretty simple right now, but I want to make actual pulling the rope and all of this. So making those actions using motion, yeah, that's a big challenge to add. But having pick your hook, you have to place your hook inside the mineral, you have to place your axe inside the tree. So those actions, yeah, they're pretty hard to do, because before they were just animations, point and click.
Yeah.
Trees. So are you supposed to be able to go to some of those little islands you pass by? Is that game procedural?
Well, yeah, kind of. There are preset islands that spawn in front of you sometimes that you can go to, place an anchor to stop your raft, and you can go explore the island. And there is this
that's probably where you find water then, huh?
Not really, actually. You do have to craft something. Yeah. You have to have a purifier, boil the water, and then you can drink it.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't see any of that. I was like so lost. I'm just such a noob at that kind of game.
Noob.
Yeah.
Noob. You and Daznatic.
Yes.
Even though he's
pro gamers.
Pro gamers.
Yeah. Pro gamers.
It basically comes down to exploring the crafting menu, all you can do. So, yeah, just explore the crafting menu, see what you can craft, and then with that you can figure out what to do.
Okay, all right. Well, that'd be helpful. It's always helpful to know what you're doing in a game like that.
Yeah. See, like we talked about the menus. That was one of my questions. Like reestablishing all that, the menus, and how to decide how to bind each button to do what from all the game. Like, do you have a list of this is what the game needs, that what it requires, that's how it's bound to a gamepad? So now how do I do it on two hands? We have similar buttons, but then I need to see the menus, and then you need that pointer. So how do you even go ahead and where does it come from? Do you just X to X, Y to Y, and like how the thought process behind all this?
The thought process usually is of course, moving with the left joystick, turning with the right joystick, that's always the same. There's no changing that. But actions that usually you need to point with it, I usually just use the right hand buttons. So interact, I would put it on the right hand, of course. Grip is usually interact in other games. And menus, because the menus appear on your left hand, then I would put the menu buttons on the left hand too.
On the left.
So it's just depending on which hand you do with the actions.
But
with Raft, it was an especially big challenge, because the Raft doesn't even have gamepad support. It's only keyboard and mouse.
Oh,
yeah, only keyboard and mouse. And so the developers, because they have the keyboard, they don't really care if they have 20 or 30 buttons to do stuff. So it was a challenge, putting that to the limits of what you have on the controllers, especially with Vive controllers. They
Oh
have nothing.
God,
They have
yeah, Vive
trackpad.
ones. Yeah, they're a pain.
So
What?
I had to do some stuff with if you press a button quickly, then it does something. When you hold it, it does something else. Because
Okay,
there's
Yeah.
just so much stuff to bind.
okay.
That's nuts. That's awesome. That's exactly what
Was
I
it
wanted to hear.
tough
'Cause
to get to the throwing the hook?
With Throw the Hook, I think I just I borrowed the same kind of system as Whisker Rain 2 with the melee. So what I
Mhm.
would do is, if I can get a bit technical about this, but
It's
I
okay.
would check, the two previous frames and see like the distance that you did with your hand. And when you reach a certain distance, it would like trigger the melee. But this time I just check the distance and that would choose the direction and the force of the throw. So now you just have to replace the force code and the direction code for throwing the hook, and you apply it with what I just pulled with the controller, and that's how throwing works basically.
That's
And that's
awesome.
yeah.
See,
I might
that's a
have to
way of
improve it
thinking
though.
that
I would have
I will never think that
I
way.
would have never thought of that. Just that, well, if you, I mean, it makes perfect sense that if you, just look back in time a bit at a couple frames to see how fast your arm's moving forward, then
Yeah.
you can use that math wise. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
work?
That's
Do you work
that's where
with
I fall. When you say math, that's it. All I hear now is a flat line, black screen.
Oh yeah, that is hard.
Yeah.
So do you work
go.
at all with a team, or do you do this? Are you just all alone and
I'm all by myself.
all by yourself?
Yeah, but I do ask for some help. That they have a Raft modding Discord, so sometimes people that have experience with Raft mods, I ask for help over there. And
Nice.
without them, I probably wouldn't get really far.
That's cool. So,
That's nice.
have you been asked to be on any teams or anything like that, or
So far, no.
so far? Man, your mods are great, man. I'd love to see
Yeah.
like with everybody in the community, people start pulling their resources together more, and really, oh geez, there's just the possibilities make my hair stand up on the back of my neck. There's so much that can be done.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, man. Van, go for
Amazing. Well, there's a couple of questions. One of them is, I think you kind of touched about it. When you decide on a game, then what? Because Rai told us that the first thing that he does is checks to see if there's a free cam that he can tweak, and then the stuff will start building from there. Is it the same with you? Like, is it? Because let's say Greg and I, we would love to create a mod or to try and do it. All we know how to do, I can build up Vortex menus, profiles. I can tweak around with Depth 3D and go in. I can tweak ini files to add FOV, to tweak some things in game with text file. I know that Verified Games is doing a lot of stuff with Dolphin VR, and we're playing with it, but we're not
Yeah, we're just playing. Yeah.
properly, if that makes sense. So what would be a good place for us to start? Because if we see games and you're like, oh, that would be, I want to see it in VR. I want even just to be, don't worry about touch controllers, because that, like what you just explained, that's a train smashing in my head. But just to play with gamepad, but just to be in the world, not with a screen like 4PAX or Depth 3D, just to be in the engine. How do you do it? Like, I know that you work with Unity.
That is a good rule of thumb, Just look at 3D games you like, see if it uses Unity, because that's when I know what to use.
Yeah.
And what do they use to compile the code? So either Mono or IL2CPP. So Mono is the easy part. That's very easy to mod. That's what I do. If it's maybe Unreal Engine, then I will probably not touch really that, because that's not what I know how to use. And think it's harder to mod to Unreal games.
I think Luke Ross had one time I had asked him about that, and he had said that he was like start with Unreal games. He's like, just do it.
Well, it's like people that use Mac or people that use PC. It's like, don't worry about PC, just use Mac. And people
Unity,
with PC, like,
yeah. Unity, I remember what, I don't know if it's still that way, but when that engine, at least when I first heard about it, that's back in 2015 or whatever it was when I first got my headset, they were always like, if you make a VR game with Unity, then they didn't even have any royalties or anything like that. They just wanted people to use it. And I think VR was a huge part of Unity, and it didn't come later, I believe, if I remember correctly. Unreal 4 didn't really have much for VR for quite a while. I think Unity was the one that started it, wasn't it? Or do you know this history? Sure. Okay.
I'm not really sure, but I know that Unity had it for a very long time.
Yeah, I think Unity started it. Don't quote me on this, but I just seem to remember in the back of my head that that was one of the problems with some of the games that they were building, with some of the first games they were building with Unreal for VR. One that comes to mind, do you remember Siren? Did you ever play that one, Fran?
Yeah.
Did you play Siren at all? Have you played it?
Nope.
Okay. It's kind of a Alien Isolation type clone. Only you're in an undersea lab and you've got these freaky mermaids chasing you or whatever. And when it first came out, it was a blurry mess. Once again, it was just Vaseline on the eyes and all of that. It looked so good in the trailers. I was so excited that I put it on. I was like, this sucks. and then they kind of fixed it, but it just doesn't even come close to... some of these games that try to clone Resident Evil, or not Resident Evil, but Alien Isolation, man, that's such a tough game to follow, because
Alien Isolation is Unity, isn't it? No.
I don't think so.
What engine?
I don't remember what engine it is. But
sometimes you can see and identify the quality of render, and then this is Unity, this is Unreal.
But it's getting a lot better though. Unity has gotten so much better from back in the days. Yeah. I've worked a little bit with Unity, just like building set pieces and stuff like that, and but yeah, it's a really cool engine.
Multiplayer, co-op.
There you go. Yeah, ask that question.
Both games you can play them co-op, so you can play. I haven't tried any of them with co-op or multiplayer, but you can play in the VR mod, but you can play with a friend that is flat screener, right? And there's no problem or being banned or anything like that.
No, I don't think so. Well, both games, just so happen to not have any anti-cheat or anything because they are co-op games. They're not competitive or anything. So there's just no need for it, But
nice.
Yeah, because there's no anti-cheat, and because I try to only dabble with features that are client side. Because there are some features that are exclusively, server side that the client has no control over, and that I do not have any control over. I mean, I would need to make an online mod for it. But yeah, Raft, for example, I'd say 99% of the features are all client side, and they're just sending the values that were calculated by your own PC.
Okay.
So that's easy to work with, and that's why you can play with flat-screen players after that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's awesome. That's I was one of the very first developer interview I ever did was with Daniel Mist from the Nordic Trolls. And we were talking about, because Carnage Chronicles is still my all-time favorite hack and slash VR game. It's so much fun, and the multiplayer is key for that game. Have you played that one at all, Dr. Bebop?
No.
Oh, I'd highly recommend it. It's really, really good. Beautiful game. The multiplayer is a blast. It's brutal, but it's so much fun. But I mean, he was talking about in multiplayer how difficult it is to code just to get two players to be able to do this, it's really, really tough and you could see that a little bit. I've noticed with Carnage when you're playing, if I'm playing and I'm the server, the host of the thing. Everything feels perfect as far as hits and everything when I'm hitting enemies and stuff like that. But if I'm playing on somebody else, they're the host. It feels like there's a delay, or I'm not actually making contact sometimes. I know that's got to be that kind of an issue. So you don't have to deal with any of that kind of thing then, because this is just based on the game's code that's already there.
Yeah, that's not really something I can control.
Okay, all right. Well, that's nice. It's nice that you're actually able to play it and there's no anti-cheat too, because that's kind of a bummer when you can't do multiplayer games in VR.
Yeah. And games like Risk of Rain too, playing alone you can do it, but it's a different experience when you play it with people. So
yeah,
it's
we
a necessary
should
thing.
jump into that one multiplayer and try it out. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Definitely. What about FSR? Can FSR be played and used in both games?
I think it works on Risk of Rain 2. I haven't tested on Raft, but it probably works. It's just
Works.
just replacing a DLL, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just because Greg said that the cooling system on his computer was just screaming when he played Raft.
With Raft, I was actually surprised, but I took my headset off and all my liquid cooling stuff was just going crazy. I was like, wow, I didn't think this game was that heavy.
I was surprised too.
Well, I did bump up the resolution to was it 1080 by 1920 by 1080. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, because when I sent you that picture last night when I was trying to get it to work, how it just gave me a thin strip down the middle of my screen. I couldn't see it in the menu, so I had to change the resolution.
Well, that's why I don't ask the question, but I will ask it, because both of the games, I guess they really require a lot of resources from your computer or GPU. I thought that they were kind of like more simpler visually, so I was like, can they be ported to a Quest standalone, like Castle Wolfenstein or Half-Life 1? But they were too simple. But I wonder if those two games could be ported.
I mean,
don't think
those games specifically, if you are a modder, you probably won't be able to at all, because it's a Unity build, and you can't really port a Unity build that was made for PC into Quest. But if you had, if the developers wanted to, if they had the original project, they can have a more optimized way of rendering VR. That's one of the main problems with mods. I don't know if you know the concept between multipass and single pass, for example.
Go for it. Tell us.
Multipass from the Fifth Element.
Multipass. Corbin Dallas.
Yeah, that's the only thing I know about multipass. So.
Well, it's just a way of rendering the game. Rendering one image for the one eye and one image for the other. That's multipass. It is more resource intensive, but that's what the engines come with by default, and you can't really change it into single pass, which is rendering everything at the same time for both eyes. And that is a lot easier for the PC, but it needs like big changes on how your materials, your textures work. So that's a big challenge with VR mods. That's why most of them have a bit harder time with running.
Yeah.
So am I correct in thinking that things kind of have to be in Android as well to work on the Quest 2?
Yeah, they have the to use it, like I think APK file for it to work. So yeah, with Unity you can build the game into Quest, but you need the original project for that.
Okay. All right. Hey, I noticed with both of your mods that you needed to use, because I like to sometimes kind of rate mods as ease of installation. You've got mods like Luke Ross's where you just put it in the thing and you're done. And then but with yours we have to go through a few steps with mod managers. Are these somebody else's mod managers? Did you make these mod managers, or?
The mod managers are made by someone else.
Okay.
Whenever with Risk of Rain 2 and Raft, when I start making the mods, I always check if they already have a modding community and a mod manager, and I try for the most part to use what already exists so they can install the VR mod like they install any other mod for that game.
Okay.
And make the installation process just as simple as other mods.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it took a little bit of reading for me, but once I figured it out, they're super simple to install. But yeah, you definitely have to read some instructions to do it, which nobody likes to read.
Yeah.
No, the thing is, if you mod stuff like Skyrim or Fallout 4, if you use Vortex or if you use Mod Manager or Mod Organizer, it's kind of like the same idea. If I remember correctly, even Rise game required kind of some sort of a mod manager.
Oh yeah. Which one was it?
Galactic.
No, that's Deep Rock Galactic did, but that's not Riken Parta's mod.
No. So
Firewatch, and Stanley Parable.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So, BioWatch was not BioWatch.
BioWatch? What's that? What the hell is BioWatch? It's like BioShock and Firewatch.
Which one did I play?
Outer Wilds.
That's the name.
Outer Wilds. That's his other big one. Yeah.
Outer Wilds. It had a mod manager kind of type of thing that you load the mod and you activate it. Yeah.
I think Outer Wilds probably the mod I would play. Outer Wilds, yeah. It's probably the mod I would play if I could forget a game. That would probably be the one.
Really?
Like earlier, yeah.
It's also interesting to hear people, different games that people like and where they play them. I'm always more of like the big AAA games and stuff like that, but a lot of these indie games are pretty freaking amazing.
But to be fair, I had an incident in Risk of Rain 2 that in the VR there was a robot coming from the left, so I used both hands and I shot him, and then something came from the right and I just moved my one hand and I could shoot in both areas. Like I can shoot at the robot and I can shoot at this guy. You can't do it with the pancake, with the flat screen. You can't.
No.
So that was like, holy crap, that's like the badass feeling that you get from games like this.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of that when I was playing Risk of Rain 2. It's like, this is great with two hands.
Just add the slow-mo to it. That's the best.
Yeah. Hey, so do you have any other games that you're looking at modding, and would you be willing to share any info on that if you are?
Right now, not really. Right now, my focus is really on Raft and making it as polished as possible.
Okay.
And after that, maybe I can look around. But I have university right now that I need to focus on. So it's probably it's probably gonna slow down my work a little bit. But who knows what the future holds? To be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So if you had any advice that was like the biggest advice to give to somebody that was looking to start modding, what would it be?
I'd say just start with mono Unity games. That's the easiest place to start with, because Unity has so much documentation, and C# is one of the easier languages to learn, and also a lot of documentation. And there are a lot of experts in our Discord that can help you with modding VR into Unity games too. That's I'd say the engine we have the most experience with. So just start with that kind of engine. That would be perfect.
Okay.
Nice.
Sweet. Do you have any more questions, Ryan?
I think Dr. Bebop answered pretty much everything. And during the conversation, he was saying stuff that was, don't need to ask that. Don't need to ask that. That's good.
I know that always happens.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I have everything.
Yeah, my list is checked off too. So there we go. I think we got it. Dude, we want to thank you so much for being on the show with us.
You said, we know it doesn't have to be 2 hour, or usually we record about an hour and a half, and it's been an hour and a half almost.
Yeah. So there we go. It is such an honor for VRAN and I to be able to have modders come on the show and sit and talk with us, and just talk about other stuff like the news and stuff like that. Because we get so much perspective as to what it is and what's going on. And I know from the feedback that we get from the community as well, they really, really appreciate it. It's really great to, to be able to let people understand that this isn't just a, simple little thing that happens. Just to see the work that goes into it and to hear about the history of the mods and all that. It's awesome.
I'm really glad to be here. It was a lot of fun talking to you guys.
Sweet.
Sweet.
All
Merci,
right.
merci.
I'm not even going to attempt it. I always think I sound stupid. Every now and again, I took Spanish in college, and about all I could do is ask where the bathroom is. And I just I'm not even going to try to speak it. Yeah.
Do you remember how to say it? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Donde este baño?
Oh, really?
Yeah, but no. And I learned a little bit of things that I could say to patients that came in that didn't speak English.
Yeah.
Like ask them where their pain is and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just something I was never good at. I don't have a brain that works learning a second language. So, anybody that speaks more than one language, my hat's off to you guys, because I don't know how you do it. All right.
Yeah, your English is really, really good.
Yeah, my English is amazing.
Not
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's it for episode 6 of Modcast VR, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, if you can't watch us, you can listen to us we're on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts now. So we're pretty much hitting all the bases, I think. If you want to get some merch, we've got a merch shop, so you can get fancy things like this amazing mug that I'm just drinking water out of, and
.com one, and there's a .co.uk
UK one. There's both of them, so depending on what side of the world you're on, you can order from either one of those. And that's going to be it. Do you have anything else you wanted to add, Bran?
No, I think that's maybe if you guys in the comments below just ask what you want us to ask modders, what you want to know.
That's a good one.
We come up with what I find that what Dr. Bebop just answered, like it blows my mind all the time. That the way you guys think and the way you approach it and how much effing work is in going into those mods, because those games, they feel like this is how they were meant to be.
Yeah.
And
they're
they
so
feel
much
fleshed
better.
out.
So much better.
It's really, really, especially when I played the Pancake first, and then I go to the VR and I'm like, wait a minute, this is completely new game.
That's right.
Completely.
That's right.
So if you have anything that you want to know, write in the comments so that we'll know what you, and maybe suggest what games that have mods that you want us to talk about with the modders, and we'll approach them and see if they're willing to.
That's right. That's right.
So
awesome.
That's all I have to say. But dude, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. Hey, make sure you mash the like and subscribe button. And make sure you check out Dr. Bebop's Patreon if you want to get early access to Raft. It's a great mod. It already feels super polished to me, so I can't wait to see what more you do with it. Yeah.
It's going to be released on the 17th of September.
There we are.
It's going to be free.
Oh, a day after
you got Half-Life 2.
Yeah, right after.
There you are. That's awesome. All right. So, hey, thanks for watching, guys. Check in, and we'll be stay tuned. We'll be having more episodes in a month or so. So, hey, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.